Hello, it's my opponent to go first. I have a non-bingo-y rank, but through an N I would have Rig or Don. And there may be some other 8s. There is an N, fantastic. Do I have anything through the L? The other vowels not looking promising. Well, I'm delighted to get this down. It would have been a low scoring move otherwise, and it's always fun to start with a bingo. I draw the J, but pretty well. It's a tricky rack because it's going to be difficult to sort it out in one go. Whatever I can score, I can't see the rack leave being that bingo-y or that great. The F and the B are pretty clunky with the J, although I will be looking to play off one of them with it. I've got ob J on my rack. Nowhere for that I've seen at the moment. I would have Fagelled onto a D. I have that in row F, but not for a big score. I have Gelab in row D through the A of Wriggled-On, which is going to score okay. And the rack lever OFT, not bad. Do I have anything through the R? Oh wow, I wasn't expecting my opponent to bingo straight away, but he has. I'm just wondering if Criteria takes an L after it. I think it may. Now, that is pretty annoying. Because my opponent's bingoed, but also because he's blocked Gelab. Not provided anything else. Well, I do have Job across here. 29 points, rack leave, fine. I was just wondering if I have had Fridjol through the R, but I don't have an I. So I don't think I can play my J through that R. Job's quite good. I will go with this. Not good. 3 T's. I don't have a bingo here. I have Fettle as a 6, but nowhere to play it unless Criterial is good. And I'm just not sure about that. I don't want to miss a go. If my opponent doesn't take out this R, I still can't do very much with it. My preference is certainly not to be left with 2 T's, so I'm looking to play off 2 T's and an F as a minimum. Now I'm looking at I and A to see if I can play through those. Can't see anything, so this is looking pretty grim, and my lead is only 10 points with my opponent on turn. So I'm not in great shape at all, but it is early days. Relet is good. I think reflet is good. Maybe that's better than... Well, maybe that's good enough to keep 2 T's. Yeah, I think that's 30 points, so that would be quite good. But I expect my opponent's likely to be drawn to that spot. Can't see anything through the J. Can't see anything beginning with the A or the U. So very slim pickings on this board at the moment. If my opponent does play in row A, it may be possible to get Fettle down, which would be nice. Good to turn over a lot of tiles with this rack because there's not much worth keeping. And if I can turn over a lot of tiles, I increase my chances of drawing a blank or an S. Okay, so Fettle doesn't go. Fet does. But that stops one square short of column 15, and Fet, I think, takes A, E, and S. It certainly takes A and S, so do I want to do that? Just 20 points, not many. I could play Delft for 18, keeping E double T. That's not great. I think I will go with this. 22. That looks quite promising. I can't see a bingo, but there could be one. And even if there isn't, I've got scoring tiles in the W and the M. And if I played something like Mo, or exactly Mo, then my rack leave of Lest would be fine. And I can play Mo in row G underneath Joe. If Fet with an E is good, I could play Mule. But I'm just not confident about that. I'm not too bothered about placing my M above this triple word square. Now, where else can I play Mo? Well, I would have Moa in column 8. I may be confusing that with Mora, but I think it's good. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's Moxa and Mora. Anyway, my preference would be to play under Job. Now, what about putting my S on the end of Fet? Do I have a 6-letter play? Burning the M and the W. No, I have Smout. Ah, my opponent's gone. He's stolen my spot. That is immensely annoying. Gosh, I didn't want him to do that. And he's leading. So, complete pain. So, what to do here? I'm not going to try Moa. It's so annoying not to be sure of words. I'm not sure of Moa. I'm not sure if criteria takes an L. I could play Moa across onto this R. Doesn't feel great. No, is there definitely not a bingo here? Liana takes an S, so most bingos would probably go. Can't see one. I feel with the right play here, I could leave myself with a really bingo-y rack leave, and I just don't know what that play is. Well, what about just playing WO? Melts. Well, it's the LM combination, which isn't great, and 21 points isn't great either. So can I do better than that? That just doesn't feel great. Well, what about 2? 29 points. Now that's a much better score. I feel happier with that. Yeah, that does make a difference. I'm going with this. I spent long enough looking for something better. Not great. I've got the full ending. I've got Fluke, but what I don't have is a bingo, either as a 7 or through an 8. It's possible there is one, but I can't see it. Now this board is quite tight. Kulfi is good, and I have that in row D. That would sort the rack out nicely. Kulfi. Ah, unbelievable. Second time in a row my opponent's gone exactly where I was going, and it's in neither case was it an obvious spot. What a pain. And he's leading. So I have Fez, keeping a dreadful rack lead. Jew only takes an S. However, what about playing... Well, I was going to say Selk, but I don't think Selk is good. I could play Self. Let me see what that scores. So 41 points, great score. Rack leave, pretty ropey, but I should be able to score off it. I'm not going to be able to play the U in this spot. I don't think Skellum... Well, I was going to say Skellum with a single L, but it's irrelevant because that doesn't reach the triple. So is there anything I can do with my... Oh, what about just playing Kufi? So that's 41, burning the S. Kufi, 22, keeping the S, so 19 points. But I'm also keeping the E. I'm not keeping the U, so I think this is a comparable play or a better one, and I think I'd rather have the better rack leave. Horrendous, only one vowel. And we're dead level. I've got mule on my rack, which does play mule and am. I could burn the S and play smew. 27 points, might be worth considering. I could play uke, but that's keeping 5 vowels. Or I could play the S for an additional 6 points, which may be worth doing just to reduce the rack leave. That would be 36, probably worth doing. Sometimes on boards there are nice spots for high scoring tiles, and this isn't one of those boards. However, I have smew across here. I think that's going to be better than anything I've considered so far. 45 points, keeping LNT. That's definitely quite nice. So will my opponent be drawn to this juicy K and leave my smew spot alone? Or does he have a Y? Still 2 of those to come. Nothing I can do by sticking an S on the end of fet. Still 4 A's to come, which could provide a decent score for whoever plays it. But I'm not too bothered about this being blocked because I do have ukes top left for a decent score. Although smew's certainly better in terms of rack leave. Great. So, smew, 47. Wow. And finally, a really good rack. It looks like there's a 7 here. What is it? Ah, okay. Nice bingo by my opponent. 92 points. And a nice bunch of floaters as well. So, do I have a bingo? Through an N, I would have innately. Nothing available. Through a V, I would have venality, and that is available. So, I do have a bingo with the V. Can I score more? Can't see anything with the O or the I. What about the D? Can't see anything. What about the R? Interlay. Okay, that doesn't help. What about the Y? The S, rather. Gosh, it looks like there is something with the S. Can't see it. So I'm going with venality. This is a wide open play. But that's fine because I'm pretty much behind. Although this is going to draw me level, the board is so open, my opponent plays next and he'll take the lead. So I really would like the board to be open to maximise my chances of having a run of good plays. Still both blanks to come. And there is one of them. Fantastic. This looks close to a bingo, and I've got a ton of floaters to consider. Now, what about this S? So do I have a 7-letter play ending in S? I'm just going to squiz through, see if anything leaps out. That looks pretty good. Now, Berceau is good as a 7. Does it take an S, an X, or both? Not sure. That looks promising. Auberges. Fantastic. I've got auberges at 01. Let me stop looking there, because that's my O play. What about anything through the Y? Great, don't need to worry about that. Only 27 points for my opponent. Now, what would be better than auberges would be a double-double through either the I or the A. Unlikely, since I'm vowel-heavy to start with. 12 minutes on my clock. I'm inclined to play auberges because this S is such a dangerous floater. I would score more if I got my B or my G on this double letter square. So maybe I should have finished going through the alphabet. Anyway, I'm going to go with this auberges 80. Great, although it's a non-bingo Iraq, I've got decent scoring tiles and I've now got a small lead to hang on to. And the X will help with that. So where are the super hot X spots? Well, I've got Oxy across here, Coxy across here, through the O of avoiders. That will score quite well. I've got just X and Zoo, so I'm pretty much guaranteed a 30 or 40 point play. I've got the IUM ending. Sometimes bingos are hard to spot when they've got a lot of premium tiles. Only 11 for my opponent. That is a joy to see. Now, do I have anything with the X over this U? And do I have anything... Well, I have Xenium through the E, but it doesn't quite get doubled. So let me see what Coxy looks like. 46 points, which is great. The rack leave is balanced. Am I going to score more? Well, I don't think so. There's certainly nowhere obviously amazing for the X, so I'm going with this. That looks close to a bingo. I'm sure there... Oh, wow, I wasn't expecting another bingo from my opponent. He's now 25 points behind, 3 in the bag. I need to keep scoring. And do I have a 5-letter play beginning with H? That would seal the deal. Is He-Man good? I think it is. I think this is good. 49 points, horrible rack leave, but it doesn't matter. I don't think my opponent's going to bingo again. The board was wide open. It isn't now. Horrendous. And I've got a 70-point lead to hang on to. And I think I should be able to do that. I'm going to wait and see what my opponent does. The bag is empty. I don't think my opponent has a bingo. If he has, I've lost. Hemin takes an A after it and an S. So my opponent could have a 40-point play down here. I'm going to score almost nothing. So it could be a close finish, but I think my lead is big enough. I've got UI in row K and NYE. 14 points. Jippo is good. Not much else that I've seen. UI not playing underneath Hemin. SH takes an I in front, so I could play Dewey. For 11. So very little on offer here, but between 10 and 20 points is likely to be enough to see me over the line. 9 minutes on my opponent's clock, 10 on mine. Looking around at the high scoring tiles. See if I can use them. Z and the J not really available. Can't see anywhere better for EUOI. Can't play that parallel to Riggledon. So 8 minutes for my opponent to play. And he plays Sov for 22. He's got plan on his rack. I need to consider if there's anywhere for that. And I'm not sure there is, in which case I think I will get, and even if there was, I think, well, if there was, then I'd need to consider if it was blockable, but I don't see that it is playable. Yoi for 14 doesn't allow my opponent to play plan. Can't see anything planny or with plan. Ah, well, Ulpan I think is good. But does my opponent know that? I'm going to go with Yoi because the win is guaranteed. So I think my opponent can play out with Ulpan, may not be able to play out elsewhere. Yeah, he didn't see that. So where now for my O, I can get 6 for Tomo, 5 for Woe. Just scanning down the board, looking for spots for it. 2 and op, that looks pretty good. That's 10 points. Show is 6. XO not available. So I shall go with this. Wait for my opponent to formally end the game, which he does. And the final score, 421 to my opponent, 481 to me. A winning margin of 60 points. Let's see what I missed. So it was my opponent to go fast. He very kindly played an N, which gave me Riggledon. No other bingos available. And look at that, nothing even above 20 points. Now my opponent has criteria. This is my rack. I played Job. That looks fine. Just looking around for any. Yeah, J3 Joel. So criteria does take an L. That's for future reference, but Job is fine. My opponent's rack. Does he have a bingo? No. He plays drained. And now this was a rack I struggled with. I didn't really like playing Fet, but nothing obviously better. My opponent steals my spot. Now J2 Mule. Ah, well, that's using the criteria hook that I wasn't sure of. I played 2 for 29. There is very little between the top 2 plays here. And that's often the case. You shouldn't beat yourself up about being unsure of a hook, because quite often the second best play is very close to it. The important thing is to find that second best play. Now, this was my rack. I considered self. In the end, I went with Kofi for 22 and 19-point hit. I felt much happier with the rack leave. Certainly E and S contribute about 12 points of the 19-point deficit. And there's an overall synergy in Elms, which is distinctly lacking from MUK. So I'm still happy with Kofi. It may not be quite as good as Self, but if it's not, it's very close. My opponent's rack, he doesn't have a bingo. He plays Neck. And that gave me Smew for 47, which is fine. Nice rack for my opponent. He has a 92-point bingo. And fortunately, I'm able to come back straight away with venality. Horrendous rack for my opponent. And she wades through with Jip for 27. And I have a fantastic pickup. There were only 2 bingos beginning or ending with this S, Super 8 and O'Burges, so I'm glad I didn't waste time looking for a better one. And everything else was lower scoring, so in particular that means there were no double doubles on offer. My opponent plays Chi, leaving a pretty decent rack lead. Now I play Coxie for 46, that looks fine. And my opponent's rack has now matured into a bingo, and there's a ton of them available. My rack, I played Heemin for 49, and I think that's best. And at this point, I've got a 70-point lead, and I'm looking in good shape. The bag's empty. I've got 5 vowels, but there's nothing my opponent can do. He can't bingo, and that was the only way he could win. L15, Plan, and Hemina, keeping Sov. Okay, and now I play Yoi. K10, yeah, that was my play, that's fine. And finally, my opponent could have gone out with Ulpan. He didn't see that. He played par, which gave me one more go. And Jippo for 10, but I played 2 for the same. Saw an op also. Oh, well, that's the same play. So quite a high-scoring game, and as you can see, it's spread out to the 4 corners of the board without any ladders. So it was quite an open game with lots to consider, and criteria takes an L. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time.